反观美国，好战成瘾，建国240多年，只有16年没有打仗，在全球80多个国家和地区建有800多个海外军事基地，从阿富汗到伊拉克，从叙利亚到利比亚，美国的战争机器碾过哪里，哪里的民众就陷入水深火热。美方把贫铀弹和极速炸弹送到乌克兰，把航母战斗群派到地中海，把武器弹药送到以色列。事实证明，美国才是国际秩序的根本性乱源，世界动荡的幕后操盘手，地区和平稳定的最大破坏者。
All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechak, Badash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations to the Akim and her pushing this gospel in truth and in sincerity, to the best of their ability given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be upon the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon your houses. This is Brother Quanah Wath. Come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord will, it is edifying, Lord will, it is straight to the point. But, you know, as you see right here, man, you know, you got China, you know, hey, man, they are, you know, some more shameful spewing, right, on America, man. Right, this is what's going on, and they're ultimately, again, just pointing out the fact that, you know, Esau, Edom, you know, is that red horse. All right, let's go there real quick, right? Matter of fact, right? Revelations, chapter 6, and verse 4, it says, and there went out another horse that was red, right? And that red horse is Esau, Edom, right? The self-proclaimed so-called white man. Right, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And that's, again, this is what they're ultimately pointing out, right? The Esau, Edom, right? They're saying the Americans, right? The USA, you know, Babylon, right? Is ultimately, you know, the main cause for the disorder and the lack of peace that is in the world, man. You know. Which it is, right? And again, he pointed out some facts that America's been, you know, established 240 years. In only 16 years out of the 240 years, right, has America had peace, man. You know, which that's 224 years, man, of nothing but chaos and war and disorder, right, that America has ultimately brought, man. You know, and now these nations are at the point where, you know, they're ready to push the button, right? They're ready to, you know, annihilate, you know, America, man, right? We know that in the past few years, Iran has made threats towards America. Russia is currently doing it. Obviously, China's doing it. You know, North Korea, right, and many other, you know, nations, right, are ultimately making threats against America, man. You know, and really, you know, again, it goes back to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, right? He's the one that's ultimately stirring up, right, the minds of these nations, right, to ultimately come up against Babylon, right, against America, right, because we're in the time of World War III, man. You know, the Lord is finna remove this damn devil out of power, man, right? The self-proclaimed so-called white man, right, is going to be brought down, you know, and that brings me to, you know, my first precept I wanted to grab. This is Micah chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 1. We're going to read it in the NLT. It says, what sorrow awaits you who lie awake at night, thinking up evil plans. You rise at dawn, and you hurry to carry them out, simply because you have the power to do so, right? And we understand in Proverbs 4 and 16, it says, what? They sleep not, lest they cause some default, man. So they, you know, they sit there and they ultimately, they think of these plans, right? These foolproof plans, right, that are ultimately going to cause chaos and destruction and death in the earth, right? The scriptures say that he is as death, really. So everything that he does brings forth death, you know. And again, he can't rest unless he ultimately, you know, conjures up a plan, or he ultimately executes some type of wicked scheme that he's already, you know, ultimately came up with, man. You know, and when we see that, you know, we see that, you know, this is something that, you know, he's constantly doing by looking at history, man. You know, Verse 2, it says, when you want a piece of land, you find a way to seize it. When you want someone's house, you take it by fraud and violence. You cheat a man of his property, stealing his family's inheritance, right? And again, just looking at history, man, Esau Edom has done nothing but, gone and taken and pillaged lands and, different cultures and called it his own, man, right? Let's go to this real quick. In St. John chapter 10 and verse 10, right? In the KJV, it says, the thief cometh not but to steal, right? And this is what he does, man, right? He steals literally everything, inventions, right? Land, different cultures, right? And again, he calls it his own, man. This is what he's best at, right? The thief cometh not but to steal and to kill and to destroy, and that was their point, man, right? This is Esau Edom, right? His MO, right? He comes and steals, right? Kills and destroys, man, right? So let's go back to that Micah. In the KJV chapter 2 and continuing on verse 3, it says, but this is what the Lord says, right? I will reward you for your evil, right? So, hey, the Lord is finna, again, reward this devil for, all his evil, right, that he has ultimately committed, man, right, and brought forth in the earth, right? And that's going to happen by way of what, right? The reward is going to come upon Esau Edom, right, by way of what, right? First and foremost, ICBM nuclear missiles, right, which we know, again, Russia recently just declared Israel, right, the enemy, right? So we know, at some point, right, nukes are going to get hit here in America, right? This is going to be the place of the worst judgment, but there's also going to be nukes that are going to hit Israel as well, right? The Lord has to cleanse that land, right? And so the Lord is finna bring, judgment, right, upon these devils, man, here soon, right? Continuing on, it says, I will reward your evil with evil. You won't be able to pull your neck out of the noose, right? I mean, you're not going to be able to escape, right, the judgment that's coming, right? It says you will no longer walk around proudly, for it will be a terrible time, right? And this is a time that's fastly approaching, where we see all these events that are taking place. We're seeing, the speech that these nations are ultimately speaking against America, right? We're in that time, right? Verse 4, it says, in that day your enemies will make fun of you by singing this song, right? It says, of despair about you. It says, we are finished, completely ruined. The Most High has confiscated our land, taking it from us. He has given our fields to those who betrayed us. Others will set your boundaries then. The Lord's people will have no say in how the land is divided, right? And, first and foremost, right, this dealt with, with Israel, right? You see today, right, our land is ultimately given into the hands of the heathens, man, right? And we had no say, right, in that, right? Because ultimately we went off, right? We were, striving against the Most High, right? And ultimately engaging in all different types of filth and abomination, man, So we got taken from our land, and, and now heathens ultimately call it their land, right? And we had no say in that, right? And then the same thing is going to happen to Esau Edom, right? That land in which he calls his, right? Which isn't his land, right? He's going to be taken out of that land, right? And that land's going to be given back to the Israelites, man, right? The true people of the land. And he's not going to have no say in it, man. He is ultimately going to be eradicated, man. 86 from that land, 86 from this position of power, man. And there's nothing that he's going to be able to do about it. Verse 6, it says, don't say such things. The people respond, don't prophesy like that. Such disasters will never come our way, right? When you ask the average person, right, if they really think, that if America has the strongest army, or if you think America will ever lose a war, these people in America, they don't believe it, right? They don't think America will ever be touched. They don't think, America will ever be, will lose a war, right? That's the mindset of Esau Edom, the average person here in America, man, right? The self-proclaimed so-called white man, which again, that same mentality, that proudful ass mentality, has ultimately steeped into the minds of everybody, all Americans, right? Whether they be, 2/3 or whether they be, of the other nations, man, right? If they're American, right, that American patriot spirit is upon them, and well, guess what? They're in the same mindset, man, right? They're in allegiance with Esau, Edom on that note, right? They think America has the best and the strongest military in the universe, but in reality, no, man, right? They're ultimately going to be touched, right? War is coming to America, man. Destruction is coming to America, man. And I want to grab this real quick. This is Psalms chapter 49 and verse 11, right? Again, just proving the mindset of Esau, Edom, right? Psalms 49 and 11, it says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, right, man? So there you go, right? That's the mindset of Esau, Edom. He truly believes that he ain't gonna get touched, man. And again, that's the same mindset that you see, upon, the people today, man. And we understand that as, the judge is, right, so are those officers and so are the people that dwell under it, man. Roughly paraphrasing Sirach, the 10th chapter, man. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Let me grab it. Sirach chapter 10. This is Sirach 10 and 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered, right? It says, verse 10, it says, as a judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein, right? So we understand that, right? Esau, Edom, he's a proudful man, right? And we understand that he's in control. And you look at the masses, and everyone's in that fucking proudful ass state, man, right? Because of who is in rulership, man, right? He is the wicked, and the masses are wicked. He is the proudful, and the masses are proudful, man. So this is what you see, right? Going back, actually, let's go back to Blue there, and we'll jump to Isaiah, right, the 47th chapter, right? Because again, Esau, Edom truly believes that he's not ultimately, gonna, get touched, but he is, man, right? All this talk against America, right? With the Lord ultimately putting the spirit on these nations to come up, to speak against America is not for no reason, right? There's no such thing as a coincidence. There's a reason why this is happening, right? Because we're in the time of war, right? And pursuing Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 8, man, right? A time for peace and a time for war. And we're not in the time of peace. We're in the time of war, man. Isaiah 47 and verse 5 in the KJV, it says, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms, right, man? America is going down, man, right? America is losing that position of being, on top amongst these nations, man, right? Verse 6, it says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and give them into thine hand, right, man? Right, we were put under the captivity, or under the rule of Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? And our land was given into his hand, right? So true and right, right? It says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid the yoke, right, man? Right? Esau didn't show no mercy, so he's not going to get no mercy, right? James chapter 2 and verse 13, right? It says at verse 7, it says, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it, right? So again, he doesn't believe that he's going to be touched, man. Esau is that, he's so proudful, right, that he truly believes that he's going to be able to win every war and stay and remain on top, right? But that's not the case, man, right? The Lord hath devised an evil, right, against this damn devil, man. As we read, right, verse 8, it says, therefore, hear now this, that thou that art given unto pleasures, and that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments, right, man? all the, all that evil and wickedness that Esau Edom is ultimately, putting forth in the earth. Esau is ultimately going to pay for that, man. Right? Esau ultimately, he has his left hand, priesthood who he would go to, and they would ultimately conjure up spirits, right? The little CERN, their CERN machine, and AI, and all these different, them going to, again, their, and doing their little rituals and so on and so forth, right? Their sacrifices, right? Esau is ultimately able to, again, continue on in his wickedness, man, right? But that's not so, right? That's coming to an end, as it says in Isaiah the 19th chapter, right? His counsel is failing him, man. Verse 10, it says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me." Therefore, actually, I want to read this one, verse 11 in the KJV, or sorry, the NLT, if I can. Right, I'll read it in the KJV first. It says, "Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know." Right? And I want to grab this, verse 11 in the NLT, right? It says, "So disaster will overtake you. You will not be able to charm it away. Calamity will fall upon you, and you won't be able to buy your way out." Right, man? Right? Which America's ultimately tried to buy his way out. Right? You see America just keeps, ultimately, here within America, right? America just keeps ultimately, spending money, right? Which we're not even saying his advice. We understand why he's doing it, right? But hey, if Esau didn't, send people, those stimmies, or ultimately continue to raise that debt limit, right? The people would ultimately revolt, right? And Esau keeps raising it, right, until the right moment, but nonetheless to ultimately avoid, right, the people rising up against him, man, right? As well as when it comes to these nations, America, they ultimately pay out, man, right, in order to avoid certain conflicts or whatever, man, right? But it says right here, it says, "You won't be able to buy your way out. A catastrophe will strike you suddenly, one for which you are not prepared." And I want to grab this, because again, it doesn't matter, right? No matter what Esau Edom does, right, he's ultimately going to have to pay, and I want to grab this in Isaiah, the 13th chapter. And I will start at verse 17. In KJV, it says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against him," which we know the Medes today would be the Russians, right? It says, "which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it," right? So they're not going to care, right, about, America's money, right? America, they ain't going to care about none of that, man. America's not going to be able to buy their way out, right? Verse 18, it says, "Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children." Right, man? America, when you go back, I want to say a little less than a year ago, a few months back, right? Again, I mentioned it multiple times that Medvedev, the former president, right, of Russia, ultimately had, stated, right, that, and quoted Revelations, the 9th chapter, right, talking about how America is ultimately going to burn. The streets are going to melt, man. You think that they cared about the people that were here? No, man. Just like America doesn't care, about, or Israel, right? Esau Edom as a whole doesn't care about the other nations, right? You see what's going over there in Gaza, right? Just as Esau don't care, well, guess what, man? Hey, the Lord's going to put the same spirit on Russia towards America, which we understand that the Russians are, Edomites, right? But nonetheless, right, the American Edomites are the worst, man, and they're going to get the worst judgment, right? This is Babylon, right? Verse 19, it says, "In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah." That's right, man, right? Which we, when you look back at history, you see what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, right? They were desolate, right? And they're still not, that land is still not inhabitable, So let's go back, Isaiah 47, and continue on verse 12. It says, stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. Right, man? So, hey, ultimately telling America, hey, go and, check in with your, your left-hand priesthood and, what I mean, your witches and your warlocks and so on and so forth, and see if they can help you, man. But they're not gonna be able to help you, right? Again, going back to my fella's poet, I quoted it earlier, Isaiah the 19th chapter. It's like, yeah. Right? And verse 3, it says, and the spirit of Egypt, right, which is America, shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. They shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards, right, man? Right? They're gonna look, but guess what? Again, they're not gonna be able to help. Right? Going back to Isaiah 47 and verse 13, it says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers and stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Right, man? Which again, they're not going to be able to, right? Verse 14, behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto them with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter. None shall save thee. Right, man? Right, and we're going back to Isaiah the 13th chapter. Ultimately tells you, and it describes to you what America's going to be like, man. The last few verses. We'll start at verse 19 again. It says, in Babylon, right, again, America, the glory of kingdoms and the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither should the Arabian pitch tent there, right? And that's ultimately going to these nations that come into America, set up shop, and send that money right back to their home country, right? And so that way they can ultimately have that money, right? Because at one point the American dollar, right, was the dominant currency in the world, right? So every other currency was, inferior to it. So basically, you would be, just to put in perspective, and this is just, giving an example, not necessarily accurate, but, for every dollar, right, it might be, 10 euros, right? Whereas, you're buying toothpaste for, maybe 7 or 8 euros, right? You're not even spending, 75 cents, here in America, man, right? So you take that 75 cents and you could buy whatever, right? Super cheap, man. That's how they would do it, But now the American dollar is losing that traction. It's losing that power, right? You got these BRICS nations, which are ultimately ditching the dollar, right? You get China that just, ultimately did their first ever, transaction with the digital yuan, right, for oil without the American dollar, man, amid de-dollarization, man. So again, these nations are leaving off, and we understand that, I think is, China is a heavy, exporter and importer, man, of a lot of goods, man. So he's a major player, and again, they're ditching the dollar, right? Because they don't need it anymore. America don't have that power anymore, right? So now you're starting to see more and more people, ultimately more and more nations saying, fuck it, we're just going to go back home, right? It says, neither shall the shepherd make their fold there, right? It says, but the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and the owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant places, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged, right? And this is what's ultimately coming to America, man, real fast, right? And we understand that, that this, World War III, right, has to take place, after Jacob's Trouble. But nonetheless, right, if World War III is this close, how close is Jacob's Trouble, man? So the destruction of America is coming very quickly, man. Just stay watching, right? Just stay prayed up, man, right? Because we're at the end. So with that, Lord will was edifying, Lord will straight to the point. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem. Rachak B'Dash, still belongs to the elder apostles of the bishops, great millstone. Till next time I say shalom.